Hey there, I'm Nev, I'm a dev, and setting up authentication in our app can be a pain. And there are many options to go about it. And yeah, I've tried many of them. And recently I found a new tool, which I'm going to talk about today, which is better-auth. Better-auth is the most comprehensive authentication framework for TypeScript. Yeah, I gotta say, he's not wrong. He's not wrong in my opinion. It's a very cool library. But let me give you some context on what I've used for auth myself. So, back in the days when I used to build single page applications with React, I used Firebase very heavily. And with that, of course, also Firebase auth. And I must say, it was a cool time, but it was just Firebase. And I yearned for more. This is why I learned SvelteKit. And with SvelteKit, pretty much in the first few months, I adopted Lucia, and Lucia is actually still here. Lucia is now just a learning resource on implementing auth from scratch, but they used to be a library. But yeah, now Lucia is just a learning resource, and I gotta say, I loved Lucia, and Lucia was very cool. Yeah, then Lucia got deprecated, and I made a video what I will use instead of Lucia, which was namely better-auth, and then I was like, nah, better-auth is not so cool, and I used this guide from Lucia on how to go ahead and create this like all of this session shit, or not shit, all of these session things, how to create all of these session things. And yeah, I had a great time for the first time, but when I built more applications with it, it got more tedious and more tedious and more tedious with everything that I wanted to implement, or with every new app that I wanted to build. And that was the point where I was like, no, this is not viable. And especially when I built an app for my rowing club, I was like, no, I'm done with that. So I built this with better-auth. I can actually go ahead and show this to you. It's in German, but I will, translate the important parts. We have little sign up thing. I don't know what is actually happening here. I will need to fix this in the future. But yeah, we can basically go ahead and sign in with Google, and I pray to my editor. I don't gotta pretend that I have editors, but I pretend to my future me that I will blur out my emails here. But yeah, I'm gonna select my main account in here, and then we will be redirected again to our app. And yeah, the point is that you basically go ahead and add your entries, and then pick a date, and we're gonna select cross-country skiing. So we have 10 kilometers of cross-country skiing, and then we add this up, and we have our points that are recounted, and that's actually the whole thing. It is, not gonna lie, one of my most complicated projects. It's almost more complicated than Zenith, which was my AI planning app. So yeah, if you want a video on this app specifically, go ahead and tell it down in the comments section. So yeah, let's get back to better-auth. And they already demonstrated pretty well in their homepage. They have the separation of auth and client. And this is a horrible animation. The library is really cool. So yeah, they have a few concepts that I find really cool that I want to talk about today. So we have basically the separation of API and client. And what that means is that our API stuff, we only use this on the server side. So in our server.ts and our hooks, I'm basically defining the locals with the thing that we get from session, and the and in here I'm just getting the session in our layout so that the session is basically available to all the routes. I'm of course doing validation for every route, because putting auth in layout is not a good idea, or not just like do it simple, but you actually, it's a bit more complicated than just putting it in layout, but that's another story. And yeah, then we have our auth client as well, which we import in here. For example, oh no, this is just export. But for example, here we import the auth client, and we're using it for signing out. And then in here, we are also importing it for signing in with Google. Yeah, that is, we can set the callback URL directly in here. And if it's a new user, we can set it in here. And this is actually one thing that I prefer from Google Auth than GitHub Auth. And yes, GitHub Auth is so simple to set up. I don't know how, yeah, I mean, it's kind of clear how they did it, but why is GitHub OAuth so simple to set up, but basically all the other OAuth providers are such a great pain in the ass to set up? But one thing that is really cool is that I need to specify the callback URL in here instead of the GitHub thing where I need to set up the callback, and it's basically not changeable because we can't change like params, which I want to do here. So for example, if we are not logged in right now, I'm logged out, and now you can see that we are on sign in, and we have a redirect thing here. And if we go ahead and click that we want to log in with Google, then you can actually see that we are getting redirected to clubs, which is where I originally clicked. And also, if I go ahead and do this, now I'm in the challenge and I want to log out. Then go ahead and log back in. We should be again, yeah, we're again on the challenge thing. Very cool thing that I implemented. I was very proud and I felt like a 10x developer when I did this. But yeah, this is it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the database thing, because like I said, in our in Lucia, in the new approach of Lucia, I really like the way that we handle databases, because we write the functions ourselves and we don't have any adapter. We're just communicating directly with the database. In here it's a bit different. We have a Drizzle adapter and we go ahead and import the DB in there, which is just our Drizzle object or Drizzle Drizzle thing. And we select which provider we want to use. And for the additional fields, because we actually have a pre-made schema that we need to basically use to add more fields than just these, we can go ahead and do additional fields and enroll. And basically these names must correspond to the schema right here. So for example, if we go down to a user, role and role should be the same. So yeah, but after I set this up, this worked like a charm. Then we are exporting a type, because we actually need to infer the additional fields also in our auth client, because otherwise the additional fields won't be available in our auth client. So we need to go ahead and import that in here as well. Beware that we are here in server context, but because we're only exporting a type and not an object, or not just exporting auth, we are not exposing any server-side logic to our client, because this is of course using the client, and if we give this server context, this is not good. Yeah, so much for type inferring. In my opinion, handled very well. It's just generally very type safe. I had just had one case where it breaks and I can't replicate it anymore. It was somewhere in the API call. But yeah, generally, I'm really convinced that this will, or this could, but I think this will make its jump to be like adopted like very big. And I see this being the next big auth library. They have also adapters for many things: Astro, Remix, Next, Solid Start, and Tanstack Start. And especially with Astra, I think maybe. So what I actually just realized while I was coding on my app was this little thing right here. I found this out while working with better-auth. Makes everything much easier. No environment variable battles. And the things I'm talking about is this URL fix commit that I did here. And basically everything I did was in here in my export auth client thing. instead of just using a environment variable, which I dislike this approach like so much. I think this is disgusting, especially when deploying, because I had this problem where something didn't work because of course policy, because of www.zenithproductivity.app is not allowed to access zenithproductivity.app. I don't know, and I don't want to do stuff and do stuff like that and then like beat around with like these problems. So what I did instead, I went ahead and moved this into another function, which is export const auth client. I mean, like it's basically called the same, but the option that I take in here is the URL. Probably should call this base URL. And then I return this actual function. And it works basically the same as you can see here, except that we need to pass in our page.url.origin and our page we get from here from app/state. And in SvelteKit, this is super useful. And this approach is like basically only for SvelteKit, I mean, because like theoretically in Next.js it works a bit different, but for my case, this was super necessary. And I much prefer this approach to the other one, which is also why I made this, like instead of this, do this, and then so you can do this, and then we can go ahead and pass in our page, and yeah, it's better. It actually got bookmarked by a person. Huge thanks to this person. Yeah, that's it, basically it. And yeah, that is basically better-auth. What do you think about it? Go ahead and write it down in the comment section below. I'm actually very interested. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I'm gonna be doing a tutorial in the near future where I'm gonna be setting up a SvelteKit application, a modern SvelteKit application, probably something with AI. I'm not really sure yet. But if you don't want to miss that, go ahead and ring the notification bell. So yeah, you don't want to miss that. And we will see us in the next one. Bye.